Esteban Carpio, of Boston, Massachusetts, was brought in for questioning in 2005 for stabbing an 85-year-old woman. Madison got her during the questioning. One of the two detectives left the room to fetch a cup of water for Esteban. What happens next will shock the most imaginative criminal writer to the bones. Immediately Esteban noticed that the detective had left the room. He quickly grabbed Detective Sergeant James L. Allen's gun, shot him twice and killed him, then jumped out from the third floor of the interview room window and ran for it. The chase began. Fortunately, he was apprehended nearly an hour later when he was brought the following day for trial. He wore a white mask designed to stop offenders from spitting on or biting people. He was almost unrecognizable with a red forehead and eyes. His cranial region, cheek and forehead were also swollen. Esteban was eventually sentenced to life imprisonment without parole. Apart from Esteban's spine-chilling crime, the shock-talking reactions from his family members also raised eyebrows. When the judge sentenced Esteban to life imprisonment, his family members screamed and shouted about police brutality. He was mentally ill and he needed help, and we couldn't get it. We tried. Jaleel Smith Riley. When 20-year-old Portia Brooks and her boyfriend Aaron Martin were chilling in a parked car in Norwood in 2013, little did they know that their lives would be changed by a teenager forever. In a few minutes, 19-year-old Smith Riley and two other accomplices approached the vehicle to rob the occupants. They ordered Aaron out of the car. Smith Riley must have been incredibly disappointed that Aaron did not have any valuable thing on him, because he shot Aaron in the head before proceeding to shoot Portia. Portia's boyfriend survived the shooting but had permanent brain damage. Unfortunately, Portia died in the hospital 3 days later. A tip from Crime Stoppers led the police to Smith Riley in 2016. The case was revisited. Smith Riley was charged with aggravated murder, attempted murder, aggravated robbery, and 2 counts of felonious assault. He was condemned to life in prison without an option of parole after he pleaded guilty to avoid a death sentence. Music. His lawyer tried to argue that he deserves leniency, and he knows it. He can't go back in time and not do what he did. Portia's family was called upon to deliver a victim's impact message. His greed, his selfishness, his complete disregard of and disrespect of others and life. This is what I have left. I talk to her, I kiss her, I hold her, but as you can see, I get nothing back except the reality that she is a goal. When the sister was called to speak, she said, "Parole, well, I want my sister, let's try it." Immediately Riley heard the sentence of life imprisonment without parole. 0 life will roll. The defense of attempted murder. Ryan hijacked a car with a 4-year-old inside just outside a gas station in Longmont in what seemed like a scene from Fast and Furious. Ryan led the police on a lengthy high-speed chase that spanned 60 miles. The 90-minute car chase ended when Ryan was caught running on foot, having damaged the vehicle he hijacked, but that was not before he crashed into a van, dragging the driver out and stealing the van. In his attempt to escape, Ryan hit a state trooper, laying a tire deflation device and breaking his legs. He also hit several other cars and hijacked 2 others. Before being apprehended, Ryan was put in a waiting cell, and in a video presented to the court, Ryan was seen boasting to a female visitor that he has now become famous and has made the news in different countries. "My lawyer told me I made the news in the UK and Australia." He also talked about the possibility of getting paid by YouTube because of the many views his car chase generated, paid by YouTube. So a Channel 7 News, I believe, is gonna be the one that gets paid for that. But his boastful behavior soon changed when he was brought to the court for trial. He appeared tearful and blamed drugs for the wild car chase. One of the phone calls about seeming like I was bragging about making international news, this, that and the other. That was within the first week of being arrested. Still coming off of drugs, he explained. But he was still under the influence of drugs when he bragged about the car chase. Ryan's family stated that he struggled with drug addiction and pleaded with the court not to see him as a violent person, but rather as a troubled young man. The judge wasn't moved by their pleas. A jury sentenced Ryan to 160 years in prison, having been convicted of 18 counts, which included attempted manslaughter, first degree assault, child abuse and car theft. Michael Madison. It takes a cold-hearted murderer to kill not one but 3 people, and even a heartless one to feel no remorse for these crimes. This was the case of Michael Madison, who kidnapped and murdered 3 people and then wrapped their bodies in garbage bags. Michael grew up in a chaotic and abusive household, although that might have contributed to how he turned out. It wasn't enough to excuse his crimes. Cheryl D. Terry was one of Michael's victims. Naturally, her father was called by the court to give a victim impact statement. As Mr. Terry made his way to the front of the court, he turned towards Michael, who was sitting just a few feet away, and Michael smiled at him maliciously. The unremorseful smile was enough to make Terry's father go ballistic. He ran towards Michael, throwing himself across the table, and lunged at him. Thanks to the timely intervention of police officers who caught him just in time, we might have a case of 2 murders on our hands. His actions caused a commotion in the court, and a 15-minute delay followed. Terry's father laughed last as Michael was given the death penalty. The judge stated that life imprisonment is too kind for horrific criminals like Michael. Michael neither answered the judge's question nor made any statement. He showed no remorse at all. Manson Bryant and Judge Eugene Lucci are not strangers. In fact, Bryant has appeared before Judge Lucci's court more than twice, starting from a juvenile case in 1999. Bryant has a lengthy criminal history and has been in and out of prison. However, this appearance before Judge Lucci is for a violent home invasion and robbery while still on parole. Ryan has accomplice climbed through the victim's window, held them at gunpoint and stole their valuables. For this, he is being charged with aggravated burglary, aggravated robbery, kidnapping and abduction. The last time he appeared before Judge Lucci, he was sentenced to 4 years imprisonment. However, this current crime has a maximum prison sentence of 30 years. After the judge had examined the evidence, determined that Bryant was genuinely remorseful, he sentenced him to 22 years in prison. Ryan's remorse must not have been deep, because he flared up, instantly swore at the judge he called him a racist. The rent went on for a while before Judge Lucci had enough. He reconsidered Bryant's remorseful speech and added 6 additional years to his sentence, totaling 28 years. Bryant was then forcefully removed from the courtroom. Bryant's attorney Daniel Williams stated the hearings are often emotional and that his client had an emotional but regrettable action. He noted that before the sentence his client had been composed and showed remorse throughout the trial, and that he wasn't remorseful at all, and that if given the chance, if I let him loose on society, he's going to prey on other people. In 2020, the case went to a court of appeal, but Bryant wasn't successful, and the judgment was upheld. However, he appealed the judgment in the first week of June 2022. The Ohio Supreme Court ruled that swearing at a judge is a case of contempt of court at most and does not warrant 6 years of additional jail time. The court stated that a trial judge could not increase a sentence simply because the defendant was abusive or offensive. Have you witnessed any other crazy reaction to a life sentence. Which of these reactions shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments section.